I don't know if you guys watch Valhalla VFT. If you don't, I watch a lot of different shit. You know, like I don't just. There's not very many people that align with, with Nick and what I think or what I know. But what a lot of people do see that is going on in this country is those that are supposed to represent you are not representing you at all. In fact, I would say that they are just the opposite. They are damaging your life, liberty, pursuit of property. And a thing that I only listened to a few minutes of that dude. He had a live stream last night. I only listened to a couple of minutes of it. I'm trying to stay off of YouTube because I get some fucking. I don't watch TV like I do, but I don't watch like mainstream shit. You know what I mean? So I don't see mainstream media or anything like that. But the first few minutes of his live stream they did last night, there was like 4 of them. Not 4 live streams, 4 people on the live stream. He said that he didn't want to get into the left versus right paradigm because it doesn't really matter when it comes to our government selling us out to fucking Israel, and that's what they did. Israel's not our greatest fucking ally. They don't do dick for us. All they do is bleed money to those fucking people. The country would not even exist if not for the United States. That's 100% a fact. It would not even exist if not for the United States. Not to mention we pay for their entire military, 100%, and everybody in that country has free health care and all this other shit. I'm not saying I agree with free health care, but I sure as fuck don't agree with me paying for it. In any way, or are you paying for it for that matter? Whether or not I pay for it or not. And now your government has, what was it? I forget the damn bill. Doesn't matter. It was buried in, it might have been a standalone. I think it was buried in a bill, though. I think a bill was amended to include it. It was the National Defense Authorization Act. And our government now tied itself to Israel through sharing all data and military component manufacturing with Israel. Yet your government has your best interest within it. And people are like, oh, vote them out. Listen, that shit don't work now. If you haven't figured out by now, voting, it's just a ruse. It's the this bullshit to make you think that you have a fucking choice. When the reality is, if you paid attention, you don't. How long has Ukraine been going on now? What, 3 years? Been paying for that shit. Nobody in this country wants, most people in this country don't want to pay for a war in Ukraine. Now you have this fucking war with Iran. Well, it was a war, then it wasn't a war, then it was a war, then it took like 30 times now we've been told that it's over. That's secondhand information, by the way. And nobody wants that. Like, literally nobody wants that war for sure. Nobody wants to be dropping bombs on Iran. Nobody's out here screaming, yay, let's go kill some little kids so we have higher gas prices. So, Israel can fulfill listen, if you want to believe in the Bible, more power to you. But if you believe for one fucking second that is Israel in the Bible terms, or that you can push a prophecy, I guess you can, but is it really then biblical? You know what I mean? Like, in the sense of like something that was seen by people of higher intelligence than us or whatever, and now you force that to happen? Is that like really, You know, they like, think about this. This is a Christian country. Okay, let's play that game. This is a Christian country who are supporting, defending, destroying your country for people that don't even believe what you believe. They don't even believe that Jesus was the Messiah. Like, it makes this you know, Judeo-Christianity, or however you want to say it. There's like 14 different ways to say it. If you want to, like, nothing about it makes sense. Yet, here we are, and as a country, nobody's going to do shit. Why? Because, it is now, you know, they've made it illegal for us to even speak about abolishing or changing our government. Which you run into a whole bunch of more problems if you go that route anyway. And, I mean, you do, realistically. It blows my mind that as a country, we sit around and do nothing. Because why? Because peace has been shoved down your fucking throat for the last, decade for sure. Couple of decades, if you really look at it. And I'm not saying I want anything other than peace, because I do. But what I want more than that is if I have to, obey the king, for that king to truly have my best interest at heart. And they don't, at all. I want to do so I've done this before. I think I posted, and I only know this because of what my salary was at a company I worked at recently. If you make $82,500 per year, let's just say you get one monthly check, right? They pay you in 12 segments. Yeah, that's a thing. Your pay is $6,875 a month. Well, after you pay federal, state, local, city tax, and you get insurance, I'm not saying I paid all that shit, because I didn't. You have, and here's why I did. You have about $3,000 left. $3,100. Yeah, I don't remember if I said healthcare. Insurance, so taxes and healthcare. Your government has now made it to where, remember the COVID thing when everybody was clapping like seals for those free checks, and I was like, oh no, this ain't fucking good. And everybody's still clapping like seals, and then I explained to them, like, here's why this isn't good. And they're like, oh, you're stupid. Anyway, sorry. The average apartment rental, right, in Cincinnati, Ohio, so medium-sized city, and this is within the 275 loop. So if you go outside of the loop, you can find some cheaper stuff, but for the most part, it's right around the $1,300 to $1,400 a month. That's not with electric. That's not, your cable bill, if you want a cable bill, or internet, which you almost have to have today. Can't get anything done without internet. Want to pay a bill? Internet. Why? Because people are lazy, and they take the easiest route. But after you pay for that, it leaves you with about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. That's for everything. That's for a vehicle. Well, if you want a new vehicle, well, shit, that's $600 or $700 a month. Go find me a vehicle where you can pay $200 a month, and then you got a brand new vehicle. It's not happening. So the bigger picture is that not just the vehicle, maintenance on the vehicle, fuel, enforced insurances, clothing, food, medicine. Co-pays. So tell me this: how many people coming out of high school today, in this country, are going to make $82,500 a year? You want to know why they want $20 and $25 an hour coming out of high school? Because they can't make it any other way. They can't even make it with that. With that, if they live with their parents, their capable of saving up some money, but what they don't realize is that that's not going to help them because they still can't afford the rent or the mortgage on whatever place they rent or house they've been trying to buy once they move out of their parents' house. And their hopes is that they make that kind of money to be able to do that. This country is done. It is fucking done. And with this shit happening, it's even more done. Because now any money given to those fuckers by the Pentagon, who, you remember in 2001, the day before 9/11, ironically, the Pentagon came out and admitted to just mysteriously $2.2 trillion came up missing. Hey, we don't know where it went. Well, I'll tell you where it probably went. Israel. Well, now, any money or given to Israel in any form, whether that be through munitions or cash, it doesn't have to go through Congress. Not that I fucking think it should anyway. I mean, that's probably a better... I mean, none of us good, right? But at least they only knew how much it was. But I guess the reality of it is it doesn't matter because nobody cares enough to get together and say, hey, we're done. Like, the world you're leaving your children, I mean, like I said this shit for years, we should all look our kids in the face and tell them that we hate them. But we won't. We'll wake up tomorrow and life goes on, pretend like everything is just fine. As your country continues to sell out, the people you voted for probably, if you vote, because you still buy into that bullshit, believing you have a choice, is selling us all out. I mean, listen, people, if you haven't figured out the game yet, you are a moron, an absolute moron. Explain to me. Let's just say we don't really know what's going on with them, right? Explain to me how you can have a congressman who makes $176,000 a year, right? They don't even at that wage. If they have to, stay in D.C., have to have 2 homes, which really they should, just. Congress shouldn't be in session that much. The reality is today is that we live in a world where Congress is always in session because that's what we believe is the right thing. But anyway, that's not even enough money. But how they make $176 grand a year, and their second terms are normally they're multimillionaires. How? Well, I don't know, Nick. They're not insider trading though. Not the Republicans. They're conservative Christians. You're an idiot. And if you want to blame, the 3, they said in that live stream, when you become president, there's probably 3 guys in black suits that come to the Oval Office and say, hey, what's that one thing you want to do? Because that's all we're going to, let you do. And the rest you're going to do what we tell you to do. If you believe that, that's fine. I don't disagree with that completely. However, that person has the ability to say no. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. And yeah, it may cost them their life. It could possibly cost their family their lives. But hopefully that would start a domino effect where somehow people waking up or make it sweat. Today though, it's probably going to get swept under the rug like everything else does. Like, it just blows my mind, man. I got a brother, my ex-brother-in-law, finally, after years of, hard work, working, doing different things, he's a killer maintenance tech. Mechanically, I don't get it because anytime he ever has a mechanical problem, he's always called me. Like, not for work, but like at home. Boat ain't running, call Nick. Need a motor in the truck, call Nick. Need a transmission in the truck, call Nick. Having an issue with the car, call Nick. But like, he's a killer maintenance tech. He really is. He makes $149,000 a year. Has no house payment or land payment. Yeah, so he owns. It's a long story, but he owns it. He didn't get it for free. He bought it, but he owns it. He lives in a beat up 1970s trailer where you're almost falling. If it didn't have linoleum down on the floor, you'd be falling through it. He makes 149 grand a year. So I mean, if you do the quick math on that, that's what, 12. It's over $12,000 a month. You know how much he brings home a month? $7,400. And he's got a $1,000 car payment and insurances, and like it's just fun. Which he I know he's saving some money because we talk. So he's trying to save up some money because he's going to be retiring, and hopefully by the time he's 65, and he's 52 now or something. But it's got, if you made 150 grand even 7 years ago, you were doing really good. Like you lived in the nice house on the block. And not anymore. It's just not the way it is. For the majority, speaking as a blanket statement, if you don't own a home today, you're never going to own one. Unless somehow you get a job where you're making drastically more, or you marry into money, or you and whoever you're with now, somehow both, you find a way to both make more money. The cost of shit's out of control, man. I just went to Alabama to, my son has a Chevrolet truck that's broke down. I went down there and pulled the valve body out of the transmission because it has a 6L80 in it. When I pulled the pan, it didn't have a bunch of shit in it, right? So I knew that it's something, it's either there's a couple of things that could have been within the transmission. Most likely it's in the valve body. And there's reasons why I know that. Or think that. Don't know yet because I bought him some new tires. He still hasn't got those put on yet. But I charge some of that shit. But the price of just the parts for that valve body and those tires, I mean, I spent $2,500 on that stuff. And it's not that I bought over the top high end shit. It's what it costs. I mean, for 7 quarts of tranny fluid for Dextron 6, it was like $140 or some shit for 7 quarts of it. It blows my fucking mind. And some people see the writing on the wall, and thankfully they have the ability to. Man, listen, I want to, I guess it don't matter. I don't guess you care. I went and seen Jake from Nunya, Texas on the back 20 for a couple days. Me and my son did. After we went to Alabama, we went to Texas for a couple days. And that's how Jake is living, is how you're going to have to live. I mean, for the most part, he could completely survive there, right? Especially if he ration his energy use. But his house is completely off grid. Like, stormed outside, electric goes out, you don't ever know. But it took a lot of money to get there. He'll admit that. And I mean, I think he, from what I see, from what he has seen, I think Jake's on the right path, especially for his kids. I don't know, dude. It breaks my heart. Like I genuinely, it genuinely bothers me. But at what point is this? When you work 60 hours a week and you can't survive, at what point do you say enough's enough? And at what point do we quit playing the peace and, hey, vote for this guy game? Because it ain't going to get better. It's not. I'm sorry. We are so far. Listen, I had this conversation with somebody too. I think it was actually Jake. If you how can we fix this country with the government that's in place? How we do it? Yeah, tires too big, you're broke. Car's too low. Needs a set of struts, whatever. Can't afford it. Costs you that much. You not do the work. The one and only way to fix this country, to fix it in the shape that it's in, the form that it's in, is to eliminate any federal money. So income taxes, federal income taxes, just cut them off. And then we still don't have our just national debt paid off. We still don't have it paid off for, 5 years? Something like that. Let's call it 3. I think it's about $3 trillion to run the federal government. I'm not sure if that includes the military or not. So 7 years? No, fuck, more than that. 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. Like, we are fucked, people. And now to go a step further with it, the data collection. You called your buddy a Jew in a text, guess what? Guess he's going to know about that shit. Israel. You think they're going to let that slide? You anti-Semite? You anti-Semitic Jew hater? Like, when will you people figure out that these people are being paid, whether it be MSM or the people you voted for, to push propaganda in order just to get you to go along with it for longer. You know, there's a video out that somebody sent me, or I looked at. Somebody sent it, texted, where all these billionaires are building these like doomsday shelters. Like, you can look it up. Elon Musk, the gay dude that owns damn kid running outside. The gay dude that runs runs Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, and all of them building these shelters. Why would they do that, man? What do you think they're planning on an Armageddon happening? Some, thing from outer space hitting the Earth? I mean, there's a possibility of that. There's a much higher probability they know that it's all coming down, and when that happens, everybody up here is going to be killing each other. And most likely their plan, should say, they can afford to buy, gold by the kilogram, is to come out and, continue to rule on. I don't know. It eats at me what we're leaving our kids. But your government sold you the fuck out nonetheless. Thomas Jefferson said, when the people fear government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's liberty. And like I've asked before, why would government ever fear the people today? If you call somebody and say the wrong things, the police will show up at your door. The FBI, they've created all these barriers between us and them, so that they can wake up every day, fuck you right in the ass with sand. And they're untouchable. And they know it. And if they say that they're not, it's just they know that we're at least smart enough to know that at some point, occasionally, somebody is going to have to lose it, right? So, but that shit's probably, made up propaganda. I don't believe any of it. And, call me what you will, tell me I'm an idiot. I don't care. I don't believe any of it. I got to go. Y'all have a great day. Stay safe. This will probably upload 4 days from now because YouTube seems to do that to me because of the stuff I talk about, I would say, because the algorithms are getting pretty smart, which I mentioned an ideal to somebody the other day that would keep that from happening to a degree. And I think we're going to see how we can make it happen if we can. Y'all have a good day.